Regular Show is a series that came out in 2010 and ended in 2017. It was a very long-running series on Cartoon Network and loved by many people. As a kid, I didn't really like the show that much until 2020 happened, and of course we all shut away. Me and my sister would get downstairs every single night at midnight just to watch some Regular Show and fall asleep to it. It was such a good show to binge, and the people of the world have spoken. We miss Regular Show and we love the series so much. The people spoke, the producers talked, Cartoon Network heard, and now we have Regular Show, The Lost Tapes. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about my review and my thoughts and opinions on The Lost Tapes. Hello all in the land of YouTube, and welcome back to this channel. My name is X Lizandria X, and in today's video, I'm going to basically giving my personal opinions and I guess like synopsis on the Lost Tapes of Regular Show, and also just Regular Show, the original series as well, to tie into this whole entire thing. Well, let's just talk about Regular Show. So Regular Show was like a show that I didn't really care too much for as a kid because it just didn't necessarily pique my interest. I've said on this channel before, when I first made my Kicking It video, that if a show looked like it was for boys, I was not watching it. And Regular Show was actually one of those shows where I was like, it's for boys, I'm not watching it. But even as a kid, I would kind of watch it like here and there. If I wanted to watch some Disney Channel and see that good, like Charlie was coming on next, but I didn't want to watch the other Disney Channel show, I would just cut on some Regular Show in the meantime, but I wasn't necessarily paying attention to the plot. But of course in 2020, like I said, when the world shut down and we were all in the house, me and my sister loved watching Regular Show together. It's one of the things that we genuinely do bond over because we genuinely love that show so much. And Regular Show literally has 8 seasons, over what is it, like over 200 episodes. It is, next to Total Drama, Regular Show is such an easy show to binge, talk about, and just watch. And it's crazy. Like that, Malcolm in the Middle, Total Drama, like these 3 shows just have a lot. I'm sorry, I love Total Drama and Regular Show and Malcolm in the Middle, so that's why I'm kind of comparing it when it comes to like the longevity in binge watching a show. But I digress. But watching Regular Show, it's just one of those shows that even though the plots is definitely like crazy and ridiculous, and they can obviously be absurd, it has the show and the character arcs and the character development, it's just done so well. Regular Show is definitely a series that is like, just let time pass and see what we do. Because of course, in like the first season of every single show, they're still trying to work out a little bit of the issues that they have within the first season. And I don't think that Regular Show really had to work out any issues other than their drawing style and the animation style. Because even though it relatively stayed the same, you can definitely tell like in episode 1, The Power, the animation style and the drawing style is a little bit different from, of course, something in like season 3. So other than that, I don't think they really worked out too much kinks. And I saw an interview of JG Quintel where he actually mentioned that he actually uses the same formula for practically every single episode of Regular Show, and it was called the 25-50-25 rule. I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I've seen that interview, but it's the same interview and the same copy that he used for the entire series from season 1 all the way to season 8. Of course, season 8 had to do a little bit different because they were in space and all that extra stuff. Now let's talk a little bit more about the lost clips, or the lost tapes, excuse me. I'm going to say this. This is how you do a reboot. Of course, when you do reboots or revivals of television shows, sometimes the plots genuinely do not make any kind of sense. It's like, okay, we didn't necessarily ask for this, or like we asked for it, but this is how I would do it. And of course, that's what gets fan series and Wattpad stories or whatever. You know, that's what happens. But I think the writers of Regular Show, producers, execs, whoever really took note into what the people wanted, really studied their craft, because mind you, they were writing this show for 7+ years. They were writing this show for a very, very, very long time. So of course they had to study the craft, and I think they definitely went back, kind of saw what worked, kind of saw how the audience responded to their original series, just regular show, and here we are with the Lost Tapes. And when I say now, this is how you do a reboot. So of course we know in the very last episode of a regular show in season 8, Pops dies, but it's revealed that Pops had technically the entire 7 years of regular show, he's been dead. Pops has been dead the whole time, right? And he's been watching his life in the afterlife, okay? He's been doing that for the last 7 years of his life. He's been in the afterlife watching his life for 7 years, okay? So, of course, with the Lost Tapes, and you're picking up and you're rebooting, revising your series, of course, you need to pick up where you left off. And, of course, someone may think, like, okay, but Pops died. The series ended. Like, how are they gonna pick up where they left off? Because the whole gag was that Pops was technically watching his life in the afterlife. So with episode 1 of the Lost Tapes, Pops is having a good time in the afterlife that he's in and everything like that. And next thing you know, he breaks his tape, his VHS tape of his life. But it is said that in this afterlife, you can't get another tape. And that's it. They don't really have backups of anybody else's tapes. It's just like it's weird. It's a weird thing. And there's this sales guy who actually wants to take Pops's tape and use it for his own personal gain, kind of like deleting his tapes and memories so he won't have anything to remember. So yeah, so he's fighting to the death in this afterlife. Not fighting to the death, but like fighting to see his friends again, because the tape was already broken and he is hurt if he just cannot see his friends again, because it's clear that Pops is literally lonely in this afterlife. He is lonely, he's saddened that he can't see his people anymore because he's dead and they're still on Earth living it up and he's in the afterlife. But as he's up there with the guy with the disc, he finds these extra tapes, like all of these different tapes that say regular show, and he is ecstatic about this because it's like, okay, he gets to see it. So he runs back home with the tapes and he puts the VHS tape into his TV, and he realizes that this is like stuff he hadn't seen in his original tape. Thus, regular show The Lost Tapes comes about. Now, I was a little nervous myself when watching the initial first episode of the Lost Tapes, because I'm like, okay, Pops died in the original series. How in the story technically ended itself, so how are they going to bring this story back to life? But I definitely do think this was a very good way. This is how you do a revival. This is how you do a reboot. Okay, it was done so well and it honestly made sense. So, of course, we get into the very first episode of The Lost Tapes. I'm not really going to talk about the second half of the first episode. I just mainly want to talk about The Lost Tapes as a whole. But I will say The Lost Tapes obviously does still capture that essence of the original series. I do just might, like a very, very, very slight critique is that you can still tell that like these writers haven't wrote for their series in like almost 10 years, because of course regular show went off the air almost 10 years ago. They went off the air in 2017. It is 2026. That was almost 10 years ago. So of course it's been a minute. You can tell that they're writing. It's been a little minute since they've written for these characters, but they still studied their craft. They still like, okay, let's watch our original series. Let's see what worked. Let's go back to our old drawing board. Let's see some old scripts. Let's look at that. Let's see what worked, what didn't work, and how we can improve it in The Lost Tapes. You can tell that they've definitely thought about this through, because they didn't want it to be like every other reboot or every other revival series or whatever spinoff where it's like just not the same. People don't connect with it. But I can say that with The Lost Tapes, I am still laughing my face off like I normally do when I watch just the regular show. I am still laughing my face off. It is just so funny. Like, the series is still funny, but I do think it is a little different because now I think it does feel a little bit more different though, because you're no longer developing these characters. Mordecai, Rigby, and everybody else is no longer being developed because the series ended. We're basically just watching lost tapes. So we can honestly, you could pick up any episode. Like episode 2 could have been episode 5. Episode 5 could have been episode 1. You get what I'm saying? Like they could have placed all of these storylines anywhere and it still would have worked. But like I said, of course, when it comes to me and watching a series, I love character arc and character development. But that's also another thing too, is that since we know and love these characters so much, the writers do feel like they don't really have to develop anybody's character. They can just pick and choose, like, oh, let's watch Rigby from season 6 and see how he acts, and then just write an episode based on how Rigby was in season 6, but just tweak it a little bit because now it's for the lost tapes. And not saying like the regular show lost its essence, because it still has its essence. I just think that the writers are still trying to find their footing within this new series because us, the people, have asked for it. Now, me in particular, I didn't ask for a new episode or new series of regular show. I am fine with the 8 seasons that was given to me, but if we're getting more chaos and funny moments, hey, I am all for it. But let me know in the comments down below what you think of the lost tapes. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe. And I hope y'all have a good day. Bye.